Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our next session on the mobilization of finance for sustainable sports. So I'm holding a very special ball. This is the special SDGs Sustainable Development Goals soccer ball, which features the 17 SDGs, as you can see. It was designed by a Danish youth soccer coach to cause fewer strains and injuries to younger players. But above all, this is a symbol of how the power of sport can contribute to the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. So I'm sure that all organizations gathered for this special session share the conviction that it could not be timelier to look at the importance of sustainable development in sports. We'll now focus on how PDBs, public development banks, can work more closely with the international sport world to achieve sustainable development, with an example of a multi-actors coalition ahead of the Youth Olympic Games of Dakar 2026, the launch of a Sport for Development coalition to promote funding with a high impact on development through sport, and last but not least, the launch of the digital platform Sport en Commun, Sports in Common in English, aiming to connect sport and development world. So to kickstart our session, let's watch this introductory video from Rémi Rioux and Tony Estanguet, the president of Paris 2024. Take a look.
Hello, my name is Rémi Rioux, CEO of AFD, Agence Française de Développement.
Hello, my name is Tony Estanguet, President of Paris 2024.
What brings us together with Tony today is a vision. We share a world in common. And this is what the Finance in Common Summit today is about.
The Olympic and Paralympic Games are a universal event. All the nations brought together to celebrate sport. We want the Paris 2024 Games to be this universal celebration, but it should also set new standards in terms of durability, inclusion, and solidarity.
We also share a conviction. At Paris 2024, you say that sport changes lives.
Yes, it means that if sport is important in our personal lives, it also plays a key role to tackle the major challenges that we are all facing. Climate changes, gender equality, health, education, inclusion of disabled people.
In fact, sport could bring solutions to reach the Sustainable Development Goals.
Absolutely. Sport conveys values, develops skills. It is crucial for health, and it is a way to raise awareness about eco-friendly practices.
Sport is an amazing tool for mobilization and transformation at the individual level, like development is about solutions at the collective level. And this is true for France, Europe, Africa, Asia, Oceania, and the Americas.
With the Paris 2024 Games, we have the power to have an impact. We will innovate and demonstrate the social impact of sport. This is the meaning of our collaboration with Agence Française de Développement, to develop projects where sport is at the service of sustainable and human development in France and throughout the world.
Indeed, Tony. Sport and development can go hand in hand if we further incorporate very concretely sport into development and development into sport. With the Olympic and Paralympic values, we speak a common language. With the Sustainable Development Goals, we head in the same direction. This is what Paris 2024 and AFD partnership is about. With our athlete incubation program, as well as the preparation of the Youth Olympic Games of Dakar 2026. To move forward, we are launching today the Sport for Development movement with our partner public development banks. The aim is to mobilize sustainable finance to give sport its rightful place in development. The Sport in Common platform, which we are presenting today, kicks off this movement. It will be specifically dedicated to supporting development projects through sport and athletes on the African continent. We are on the same team, working towards a world in common, more sport, more impact.
Thank you, Rémi Rioux and Antonio Estangue, for this hopeful message. So let's now go straight to the support message of the IOC President, Thomas Bach.
Dear Rémi, dear Tony, dear participants, more sport, more impact. This is a motto that I agree with 100%. The mission of the IOC is to make the world a better place through sport. This is why we support these initiatives of AFD and the public development banks to harness the power of sport to improve lives. The United Nations recognized sport as an important enabler to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals. As Rémi and Tony explained so well, there are so many areas where sport can contribute to the objectives that we share with the development community. The partnership between the AFD, Paris 2024, and the Youth Olympic Games, Dakar 2026, is not only a concrete example of how sport contributes to sustainable development, but also illustrates how such models of collaboration can scale up the impact of our action. The global coronavirus crisis has made it clearer than ever that sport is the low-cost, high-impact tool par excellence for all countries in their recovery efforts towards physically, mentally, and socially fit societies. We are all still learning every day, but I hope very much that one lesson from this crisis we have already learned. We need more solidarity. More solidarity within societies and more solidarity among societies. This crisis offers us not only challenges, but even more so opportunities. So let us seize these opportunities, as we are used to in sport, by giving it our best and embracing change. Whether in sport or in facing the many challenges in life, we are always stronger together. In this Olympic spirit of solidarity, we are looking forward to this new initiative. I wish you every success for more sport, more impact.
Thank you, Thomas Bach, for your message. So before I connect with our guests today, let me just remind you, due to timing constraints, you have 1 and 1.5 minutes per question. So let's start, and it's my great pleasure to now welcome Mr. Andrew Parsons, the President of the International Paralympic Committee, the IPC. So President Parsons, thanks for joining us live from Brazil. So what is your reaction about the messages that were shared in these two videos?
Well, I couldn't agree more with Thomas, with Rémi, with Tony. At the International Paralympic Committee, our vision is exactly to make for a more inclusive role through parasport. We believe passionately that change starts with sport, that sport is a fantastic tool for transforming lives and societies, and that sport can play a significant role in advancing and accelerating the Sustainable Development Goals. Globally, there are more than 1 billion persons with disability, 15% of the world's population, and they form the world's largest marginalized community, face daily discrimination, and lack access even to the most basic human rights, education, healthcare, and employment. While great progress has been made in recent years in terms of ethnicity, sexuality, and gender, disability is often forgotten about on the inclusion agenda. And it's our belief that this has to change. Together with our 200 member organizations, the IPC wants to use a sport to make persons with disability active, visible, and contributing members of a global society. This is what we do in the Paralympic movement. Through sport, we make the invisible visible. In 2017, with the support of the Inter-American Development Bank, we launched a project called Sus Marcas Listos Inclusión. So on your marks, set inclusion, targeting communities in Colombia, Ecuador, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and Peru with high rates of poverty and exclusion who had no access to sport. The aim was to promote social inclusion of people with disabilities through sport by promoting healthy habits and generating a positive and lasting impact in the communities in which they live. The results and impact of the initiative have been stunning. People who had previously not even left their homes now practice sport each day and live independent lives. People who previously were hidden away from society are now athletes and the pride of their communities, competing in national and international events, such as the last year's Lima 2019 Pan American Games. The program has transformed the lives of more than 550 people, introducing them to parasport as athletes, as coaches, changing the dynamic they have with their families, friends, and communities. The initiative also strengthened Paralympic structures at national, regional, and local level in the heart of the communities themselves. So successful as this has been, that it has now also been expanded to Argentina, Chile, and the Dominican Republic. To give an understanding of the transformational impact, people who previously had no aspirations at all for their lives now aspire to represent their nations at the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. We have transformed lives and proven that change really does start with sport. High performance, the Paralympic Games are only the drivers, but the work on the ground at the grassroots level, it's really what drives the change. And when you see the outstanding results of this program with the support of one development bank, the IDB, just imagine what can be achieved through a global coalition. The future, as Remy said, is sport into development and development into sport. Sport really can be a great development tool and accelerator of the SDGs. The founder of the Paralympic movement, Sir Ludwig Goodman, said more than 70 years ago, "My dream is that every disabled person in the world becomes a taxpayer." This is still our dream today because it means citizenship, to be active in society. So that means that through sport, we can make the invisible not only visible, but real citizens in their community, and why not at a global level.
Thank you, Andrew Persons. It's great to see what the IPC is doing. I would like now to launch the third video, which is focusing on a multi-actor coalition formed ahead of Dakar 2026 with Mamadou Diana NDA, the president of the National Olympic Committee of Senegal. The video will show images of the venues to be rehabilitated by the AFD, and there's one under construction, which is actually financed by the BOAD, the West African Development Bank. Take a look.
L'attribution du mouvement de l'organisation du premier événement olympique sur le continent africain à travers les prochains Jeux olympiques et paralympiques de la jeunesse est une première en Afrique. Paris organisant 2024, nous avons décidé avec toutes les équipes de bâtir un projet, le projet Dioko. Nous avions reçu ici Tony Estanguet, la ministre française des Sports, et autour de ça, il y avait les agences, c'est-à-dire l'AFD, l'INSEP. On a voulu avoir un instrument de coordination et à ce titre, Dioko a vu le jour. On ne bâtit pas de nouvelles infrastructures. On part sur le préexistant pour rester dans la tradition de l'héritage qui reste après et qu'on puisse utiliser. Et à ce titre, nous avons à revoir ici la caserne Samba Diary pour l'équitation, la tour de l'œuf ainsi que la piscine municipale. Nous sommes en train de sillonner tout le territoire national pour que ce soit un projet national, et même africain, puisque tous les pays limitrophes, nous sommes en contact avec des CNO au Mali, au Maroc et autres, pour les sensibiliser à ce que nous voulons faire et à ce que nous voulons bâtir pour une première en Afrique. On veut le faire de façon très, très collégiale. Je ne dirais pas africaine parce que les Jeux, c'est universel.
Thank you, Mamadou and Di. What a great video. So I would like now to welcome Marie-Salwa d'Ambreville, who is the Director of Corporate and Social Development of the International Olympic Committee, which is, she's live with us from Lausanne. So the IOC played an important role in convening relevant stakeholders for the creation of the multi-actor coalition called the Dioko Alliance. Could you tell us a bit more about this, amazing initiative and the importance for the IOC, actually, of these first Youth Olympic Games in Africa?
Yes, good afternoon. The Dioko Islands has been encouraged by the IOC as a new model of international cooperation, which is very interesting. As on one side, we have the organizing committee of Paris 2024, with a multitude of stakeholders from the French government, the Paris city, the region of Île-de-France, as we heard, the Agence Française de Développement, some federations. And on the other hand, we have the Youth Olympic Games Dakar 2026 organizing committee with another set of multiple stakeholders, including the West African Development Banque, the Senegalese government, and many others. So by actually joining forces, we create a lot of synergies and transfer of best practices and expertise to the first edition of the Youth Olympic Games in Senegal and in Africa, which is the youngest continent, as we know, in the world. So for us, it's really important that this first edition maximize its impact, not just for Dakar, not just for Senegal, but also for the African continent.
Great, thank you for sharing that. Could you say probably a quick word about the new norm?
Yeah, so the new norm in the new approach on how we engage with future hosts of the Olympic Games, it means that we have completely changed the approach. We no longer ask the future host what they can do for the Olympic Games, but rather what the Olympic Games can do for their sustainable development. And this is all the more important as sustainability is one of the three pillars of a strategic roadmap, Olympic Agenda 2020. It means that we engage very early on in the dialogue with the future hosts on how they can deliver and maximize the legacy of their events and how we can help them contribute to their sustainable development. As you heard the IOC president mention, sport is considered as an important enabler for sustainable development. And we know we can only achieve that through partnerships and engaging very early on. And this is why today we really support this initiative that you are launching with all these public development banks to form the Sport for Development Coalition. And we are really happy to see that we share the same conviction that sport has the power to change life, but also to build a better world. And we really stand ready to further work with you to harness the power of partnerships, which is so critical. And we see a lot of areas for collaboration, for more sport, more impact.
Thank you, Marie-Salwa d'Ambreville, for sharing about the IOC's effort for sustainable development. So I would like now to welcome Tanja Gönner, Chair of the Management Board of the GIZ. Mrs. Gönner is joining us live from Bonn. Hi, Tanja. So GIZ has been an expert in the field of sport for development for many years, actually. How did everything start and what role does sport play for the GIZ?
Well, thank you so much. Good afternoon to everybody. And I will start with the second part of your question. Sport is a social experience. It has the power to connect, to emotionalize, and to create a playful learning field. That means through sport, people come together independent of their background, language, gender belief, sexual orientation, class, or abilities. That means sports is inclusive. So sport can be a unifying tool for peace. We know peace is really only with security. When security is there, you can have development. And because of this, sport is a very unifying tool for peace. Sport teaches values, as it was mentioned before, and life skills, provides opportunities and gives especially children and youth a room to develop self-esteem and a voice. And now coming to the first part of your question, using the momentum of the Football World Cup 2010 in South Africa and Brazil 2014, German development cooperation increased its engagement in using sport as a tool for sustainable development. Since then, together with our partners, we reached over 1 million children and young people in almost 40 countries, developed capacities on different levels, and supported the construction and renovation of sustainable sport grounds. We see sport as a cost-efficient, accessible tool to reach children and youth and link sport activities with topics such as education, employment, gender equality, health, also in the context of displacement and migration. We are convinced that sport can make a significant contribution to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. And in line with the Agenda 2030, which recognizes sport as an important enabler of sustainable development, we acknowledge the potential of sport to contribute to the 3 dimensions of sustainability, that means social, economic, and ecological. And our approach is tailored to local needs. The experience are available on a Sport for Development toolkit, a knowledge platform accessible for all. And it's very interesting because the topic sustainability of major sporting events is also high on the agenda of German development cooperation. And for us as GIZ, besides the FIFA Football World Cups in South Africa and Brazil, we have, together with our partners, organized several events in the context of the Olympic and Paralympic Games in Rio 2016 or the European Athletics Championships 2019 in Berlin to showcase the contribution of sport as a tool for sustainable development.
So thank you, Tanja. So strong and reinforced commitments coming from the GIZ. Thank you very much. I would like now to launch the 4th video message from Shinichi Kitaoka-san, the president of the Japan International Cooperation Agency, the JICA, and Yuki Ota-san, who is the vice president of the International Fencing Federation. Let's listen to them.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sports help us better understand each other. Sports thus have a potential to realize peace. Seeking to promote peace and reconciliation through sports, JICA launched the support to national athletic events in Timor-Leste in 2002. Currently, JICA has also been working with the South Sudanese government to implement an athletic event by the name of the National Unity Day to promote peace and reconciliation. For more than 100 years, physical education in Japanese schools has brought all students together, regardless of their socio-economic status. To share this experience, JICA has dispatched Japan Overseas Cooperation volunteers abroad in the field of physical education and sports. A cumulative number of volunteers becomes almost 5,000 over the past 55 years. For a long time, France has been advocating a laudable notion that everyone has a right to enjoy sports. Japan has been promoting human security to ensure the right of human beings to live in dignity. There's no question that sports can play an important role in achieving this objective. Today, we applaud RFD's efforts to foster collaboration among stakeholders for the promotion of peace through sports. JICA will spare no efforts in promoting human security through active participation in the Sports and Development Initiative. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sports help us to interact with each other beyond the various differences, such as languages and cultures. Every country I visited for competitions warmly welcomed me, and now the rivals become my precious friends. What is the value of sport under the severe situation of COVID-19? In the fight against COVID-19, we realize that sports have a power to unite people and societies together. Next year, Olympians and Paralympians would gather in Tokyo. I'm now creating new models of sustainable sport events with Japanese technology that everyone in the world can enjoy together. I believe Tokyo 2020 can integrate our minds as one legacy to be handed over firstly to Paris and then to Dakar. See you in Tokyo.
And I'm glad now to connect with Serge Ekué, le président de la Banque Ouest Africaine de Développement, la BOAD, the West African Development Bank. So, hello Serge, it's great to have you connect with us live from Lomé in Togo. So, we would like a quick comment on the financial efforts that la BOAD, the West African Development Bank, undertook for the construction of the Dakar Diamniadio Sports City that was highlighted on the third video in Dakar. And one of the highlights of this session, Serge, is the launch of the Sports for Development Coalition of Public Development Banks. And probably in a second part, could you give us a little bit more about the belief and the will behind this coalition? Serge, over to you.
Thank you, Asha. Thank you very much. The West African Development Bank has invested 10.5 billion CFA franc, which is approximately 16 million euro, in the Dakar Diamniadio Sports City, aka DDSC project. Actually, it's a sports, leisure, and sport complex for various disciplines: football, handball, basketball, volleyball, for professional and amateur athletes, for international competitions, and for leisure activity. Actually, DDSC is an ecosystem with multi-shaped angles. And to be honest, when it first came to the risk committee, we were kind of skeptical and how to handle this because of the multi-shaped aspect of the project, and more specifically, in the context of this crisis we are currently facing. But for us at the West African Development Bank, it resonated with our duty of supporting sectors that currently suffer the most from conjunctural shocks, even more in the current context, in the COVID crisis period. So the sport ecosystem, particularly essential for our youth in Africa, was hardly hit. We made that bet of the future. So the positive impact on Senegal economic and social development is real and already visible. Creation of 570 jobs during construction and operation, as well as 223 induced and indirect jobs, 3 billion CFA of indirect and induced value on a yearly basis, and 10 billion CFA francs of revenues expected in the first year of the project. So now, what is the belief and the will behind this coalition, Asha? We do believe here, ladies and gentlemen, that the SDGs require us to tap every single sustainable growth opportunity in order to leave no one behind. DDSC is a clear example of the unique lever of sustainable development that sport is. So that's why the Sport and Development Coalition of Public Development Banks and Partners is launched today with the NDB partners and partners that strongly believe that physical activities, education, and sport are important levers for human and sustainable development. Contribution to many SDGs: education, health, gender, equality, skills and employment, responsible consumption and production partnerships, you name it. Sport is a social and professional way of emancipation. It is a builder of the universal peace in larger freedom. That we seek as stated in the 2030 agenda. On this very day, today, the 11th of November 2020, as you know, the armistice of the First World War, Sport for Development Coalition of public development banks and partners pledged to support projects that make sport a tool of human and sustainable development at the national and regional level. On this very day, the special day today, we send a strong message and take our share of responsibility so that the only battlefields that our kids visit are sports areas, so that the only confrontations that our kids could witness are sports matches. I hope more NDBs and partners will join these crucial initiatives.
I'm sure,
More
Serge.
sports and definitely more impact. Thank you very much.
I'm sure. Thank you very much, Serge Ekué. I'm really looking forward to come back and visit the BOAD in Lomé after the pandemic. Thank you very much.
With pleasure.
I would like now to give the floor, or rather the screen now, to Gabriela Ramos, the Assistant Director General for Social and Human Sciences at UNESCO. So Mrs. Ramos is connecting with us from Paris, and we would like to hear what the Sport for Development Coalition of Public Development Banks means for you, and probably a second question on the official launch of the digital platform Sport en Commun initiated by the AFD. Why is it important to support such an initiative? Over to you.
Thank you so much, Asha. Thank you for those that brought us together. Thank you to Remy, thank you to Tony. For UNESCO, which is the leading institution in the UN system dealing with sports, the coalition is just great news. Having all these development banks putting their power, putting their commitment, we have heard how committed they are to sports. It's going to provide us with some elements to advance more rapidly, hopefully, the SDGs and the development goals that we have advanced for the world and that we are bound to deliver. I want to say that UNESCO is really pleased to join. We bring our own equipment, not only this wonderful ball that you pass on to me, but we are also the house of the World Coalition of Ministers of Sports. We host the Kazan Action Plan for Sports. We also have the CJEPs and we have the Anti-Doping Convention. So our standard setting is going to be also providing a setup to advance sports in the best manner as we know it. We also believe that this coalition, of course, we cannot take it away from the context in which we are living. For recovering from the pandemic that we are suffering, for giving responses to the youth, responses to the kids, responses to women, the sports are going to provide this lever and bringing all these efforts together from different parts, not only the development banks that are so powerful as we heard, but all the other actors and institutions, I believe is going to give great hope. But also many of the speakers have said it's not only about the capacity and the experience and the succeeding in terms of your own sports practice, but also we know that sports convey a set of values that we all believe in. And UNESCO being also an institution that promotes peace and that promotes the respect from human rights, we also believe in the power of the values of sports. The values meaning empathy, meaning tolerance, meaning team play, meaning fair play, meaning respect, meaning discipline. And for that, we also want to put at the table our several projects that we have built together to advance these values in terms of Fit for Life, the Observatory for Gender and Sports, and also the quality of physical education that we move forward with our education partners. What do we believe about this fantastic platform that has been launched to match those that are building the projects and those that have the financing? Is the real concrete proof that we are walking the talk. It's not just a very important message, is that we now have these platforms that the Agence Française de Développement is empowering to bring all the people that have something to do to the table to create the critical mass in which we really advance the agenda in a very concrete manner. And again, UNESCO is ready to bring the policymakers, to bring all of our stakeholders to advance the agenda together, and also to make sure that these projects are built in a robust manner, that the impact and the investments that we will be doing in each of these initiatives will deliver for good. So I feel it's a very nice time to advance this agenda, and we're happy to join.
Thank you, Gabriela. Thank you very much for sharing. I would like now to launch the 5th video on Sport en Commun, Sports in Common, featuring, per order of appearance, Nelson Camara, CEO of Sport en Commun, Robin Chale-Wachu, CEO of Vivendi Sports, the Sport Impact leaders, Arnaud Assoumani and Diandra Tachwang, and finally featuring the senior advisors, Joyce Cook, FIFA Foundation General Secretary, and Laurence Fischer, Ambassador for Sports, French Ministry of Europe and Foreign Affairs. Let's watch it.
To carry out this mission, Sport en Commun, a Pan-African platform initiated by AFD, offers a large range of tailor-made solutions dedicated to fund providers. First of all, Sport en Commun gives a unique opportunity for fund providers to access a large portfolio of qualified projects matching their investment criteria in terms of targeted geographies, SDGs, and sports. The platform is also a way for fund providers to express their interest for selected projects and to be directly connected to project managers. One of the key functionalities proposed by Sport en Commun is the opportunity for fund providers to create and launch new funding solutions, such as call for projects. As recently done through a sport and health initiative co-funded by FIFA and AFD, we led interactions with applicants and managed the entire selection process. Finally, we invite fund providers to contribute to the innovative seed investment vehicle expected to be launched by 2022. But we do know that the success and impact of each project lie in the implementation on and off the field. Sport en Commun therefore offers a large range of solutions dedicated to project managers, including public institutions, sports organizations, and NGOs. Incubation, structuring, change of scale, impact measurement, capacity building, training, and also deployment of initiatives in coordination with local structures and specialized organizations like Vivendi Sports.
Vivendi Sports is happy to collaborate with Sport en Commun. We will bring our servicing expertise to those who make sport a key driver of economic and social development in Africa.
These services are the breeding ground of an ecosystem aiming at the creation of successful and sustainable projects. We are glad to have the support of elite athletes, personalities, and partner institutions, all engaged in sport for development.
Sport has this incredible power to break down barriers and promote inclusion for children often left on the sidelines. Sport en Commun can be a real booster for economic and social development in Africa.
Together, let's unleash the power of sports to reduce social inequalities. Basketball has taught me so many things, such as being disciplined and working hard. These values are going to help me for a lifetime.
Sports development provides opportunities to our youth, to women and girls, to disabled people. For all these reasons and so many more, I am proud and deeply honoured to join Sports en Commune as a senior advisor.
As French ambassador for sport, I'm glad to support Sport en Commun to promote development through sport, and to make sport a key driver for economic and social development in Africa.
Brilliant messages and commitments. So we now have Amadou Gallo-Fall, the president of the Basketball Africa League, who is with us today. Thank you, Mr. Fall, for joining us live from Joburg. So, wow, what a video. Mr. Fall, I know that you are also a senior advisor of the platform Sport en Commun. How do you feel after this video? And probably later on, could you tell us a little bit what the Basketball Africa League represents for basketball in Africa and its overall sports industry? Over to you.
An incredibly inspiring video, and I'm proud to serve as a senior advisor for the platform. I think it's a most welcome initiative in the Africa grassroots sports initiative. You have a lot of wonderful organizations doing tremendous work, having impact with little means. I think this platform is really going to be a game changer. Coming to the Basketball Africa League. The Basketball Africa League is a professional Pan-African league with 12 teams from 12 countries. It's a partnership between FIBA, the world governing body for basketball, and the NBA. The BAL marks the first time the NBA launched a collaboration outside of North America, and I think this is a testament to the tremendous potential we have to grow the sports across Africa. The BAL is part of our broader efforts to use sports as an economic growth engine across Africa. Sporting events, as we know, develop infrastructure, generate employment, attract corporate partners, and therefore contribute to economic growth. Having a professional basketball league on the continent is going to allow talented young players from across the continent to have a platform to showcase the talent. It is going to also foster an entire ecosystem of related activities in business, in other businesses to generate employment and inspire more young boys and girls to participate in sport. We hope that via the Basketball Africa League, African youth will be inspired to understand that they can succeed right here in Africa, on the continent, and not necessarily have to risk their lives on the seas trying to reach Europe. The success of the Basketball Africa League is going to really depend on the types of partnerships that we will be able to attract. And we are very proud of the partnership we've built with the Agence Française de Développement, with the NBA, to use sport as a means to foster inclusion, to promote gender equality, and just inspire young people to engage in positive social activities. So we look to engage with more of the partner organizations that are on this platform to really maximize on the opportunity we see in Africa to use basketball and sports in general to create an industry. Sports contribute tremendously to GDPs of countries in the West, in Africa, with the amount of talent we have. If we are able to nurture this talent and create the enabling environment to really allow this talent to be showcased on the continent, and all the jobs that will be created around this sports industry, I think we will be in a better place.
Thank you, Amadou Fall. Thank you for this hopeful and inspiring message, and a warm thank you to all of our speakers today. Please let me wrap up all your insightful contributions with one motto that we should all adopt: more sport, more impact. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us during this special session. Let's take a quick break and we'll meet again in 15 minutes for the next special session on the growing global movement to establish new green banks. In the meantime, don't hesitate to share your comments on social media with the hashtag FinanceInCommon2020 and to exchange with your fellow participants through the networking tool on the platform. Thank you and see you in a few minutes.